Oh, I want a candle. There it is. Candle, yay! Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So that was squeaky. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. My throat hurts. So if my voice sounds weird, that's why. But I found these markers at the store at TJ Maxx. They were $4.99. I got them for Ross. That was a lie. I got these markers from Ross and they were $4.99. And I was like, alcohol markers for $4.99 for 12 markers? That's like really cheap. So that's 41 cents a marker. So I wanted to buy them and see if they were any good or not. So it has 12 markers, like I said. It's by the brand CraftGear, and they have fine tips and broad tips, so no brush markers. So I want to try these. I like the packaging that they're in. It's actually really nice. It's got like a little clip and everything. Someone commented on my Instagram and said they have them and they're not very good, but like I'm gonna give them my honest opinion. Okay, first of all, packaging and like, I'm into this. Like, this is cute. This is cute because it's like a little carrying case and I can take it places. And then these are like kind of nice looking. Like, it's like black packaging and it has like these little rubbery grip dots on it and colors are on the end. Bright, fun, I'm excited. I wanna swatch these. Okay, so I'm gonna swatch these just in this sketchbook that I have and kind of see how they swatch. This is black. Obviously. It's very black, that's nice. It's juicy, so that's good. Oh my God, these caps are really hard to get off. Oh, did you see that? I took the cap off and we had like little ink spatters go all over the sketchbook. I'm afraid of pink splatters now. I'm wearing a white shirt. This is bright, these are bright colors. So far, this isn't marker paper or anything, it's just regular white paper. I haven't had any splatter on me since the pink, so that's slightly reassuring. Actually, it wasn't pink, it was azalea purple, but like whatever, that's pink. And then we have cobalt blue. Oh, cobalt blue just splattered. It missed the sketchbook, but it got on the desk. Cool, so those are all of the colors swatched. I wanna see how they blend. I don't know if they're gonna blend on this paper really because this isn't marker paper, but I do have some Bristol board, so we're gonna play around with them on the Bristol board next. So I'm just gonna use the top corner and kind of practice or try to blend some colors into one another and just kind of see how they work. I might also try mixing my colorless blender with these. Although they didn't come with like a colorless blender. I'm interested to see if they'll work with other colorless blenders though. They should. I feel like most alcohol-based markers work with colorless blenders. Oh, there you go. I am not like an expert in alcohol markers at all. If you're looking for somebody who really knows what they're doing, Bailey J knows what she's doing, Miss Carrie J. There's so many great Copic and marker artists out there. I'm not really one of them, but I do enjoy playing with markers. So they are blending, not like, it's not the smoothest blend. Like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's the smoothest blend by any way, shape, or form, but they're blending. It's also kind of hard. I've always felt like it's kind of harder when you are dealing with no brush nibs. I'm just kind of trying to figure out different ways of blending these markers and what colors might work together, what colors aren't gonna work as well together. How much can I layer them? If certain colors blend better than others. I feel like it's good before you go in with like actual art to kind of figure out how they're gonna blend and how you're gonna use them. So the colors are really vibrant, but you can see there's some weird kind of spreading and haloing just around the edges of like this one where I put quite a bit of ink on. And this one I think is dry. This one is still a little damp, so we'll see if that goes away when it dries. It should. But you can see a little bit more of it there, the haloing. So that's interesting. Definitely don't think you can put too much ink on these, but they are really vibrant. Not a lot of pastels, kind of difficult to blend. So I think I'm gonna start by figuring out kind of some of the colors that I wanna use. I definitely wanna use some of these blues and greens and maybe some of the yellows as well. I think I'm gonna use kind of some of these guys here. I think the yellow is gonna be good because I can use that as a lighter color. I'm gonna kind of color palette right here. Okay, so I want to keep whatever I'm doing pretty simple. I don't want to have to rely too much on blending, but I do want to play with some blending ingredients because I want to be able to see, you know, what these markers can do and what I can create with them. Okay, so I decided I wanted to do a girl kind of like summery because I felt like these were summery colors. I kind of played around and changed the colors a little bit more. I just like Google image searched girl on a beach and anatomy reference to that. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna kind of go with this idea. And I'm gonna grab my Bristol board and kind of make a little picture and see how these work for actual art creation. So the first thing I had to do was sketch out what I was going to draw on a piece of Bristol board. So I'm using the Strathmore Bristol board, the like yellow one. And I did use a reference for this. I'm trying to get a bit better at anatomy, so I'm trying to use reference more often until I have more of a handle on it myself. So I'm just trying to use a lot more reference. So I just drew a girl in her swimsuit on the beach. I think it came out pretty cute. I was really happy with the sketch of this actually. I kind of want to draw it again, but with different markers, maybe use watercolor. So I might kind of print it out again and then transfer it to watercolor paper and paint it again. So if you'd like to see that as a video, let me know. And then we can kind of compare them, maybe, I don't know. So then I went and outlined it with a Copic microliner written in 0.3. For some reason, I really seem to have a big issue with like any fine liners that aren't the Copic ones smudging and smearing when I use Copics on them. So I don't really know if that's just me. If anyone else has that issue, let me know. I see other people use like microns and all kinds of fine liners with Copics and they're fine, but for some reason, for me, they smudge all the time. But anyway. So going on to the markers, yay! So the first thing I did was lay out this yellow in the background. Since yellow is the lightest color, I figured it was best to start with that. And I wanted to establish a sunset. So then I went in with the orange and I used the bullet nib to do these kind of like little like lines coming off it. I feel like there's probably a more technical term for that, but I honestly don't know it. But it's like a stylistic thing. I'm sure you guys have seen it. And then I did the same thing with pink on the inside. So I just layered them up one on top of the other to get more unique and subtle colors. So that was something that I did a lot. I really tried to layer things up to get different color variations. So for the ocean, I had this beautiful teal color, so perfect color for the ocean. I felt like sunsetty beachy colors would work really well with the color palette, like the available colors that I had. So I started building up kind of the waves with just layering this marker on top of itself, which worked pretty well actually. I always think it's best to just build markers up in as many layers as the paper can handle. That's basically my only technique when it comes to markers because I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I do a lot of marker stuff, but actually I don't do a lot of marker stuff at all because I have no idea what I'm doing, but people seem to really like my marker stuff and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So the skin, this was kind of like the best skin tone that I had. So I started out with that and I figured it makes her look really suntanned, which is nice because she's in the ocean sunset beach thing and I figure she's a beachy girl. And then I used the yellow to add a warm highlight to it so that it's like the sun is reflecting on her and enveloping her, I don't know. But that was my logic there. Just trying to create more interest with the highlights and things like that. I also started using my colorless blender because I wanted to add in some highlights onto her skin and the yellow was lighter but not that much lighter. So I used a lot of the colorless blender to just kind of add some more dimension to her skin in terms of highlights and that worked really, really well. I feel like if you have a colorless blender of any sort, it can just transform so many markers. It is, in my opinion, one of the first things you should get when you get markers because if you have a colorless blender, you can create shades that you would normally have to buy. So I went in with a darker color for some additional shading. And then for the blush, I actually wish I'd done this on the body, but I didn't. I took the pink and put it underneath the skin and then added the colorless blender to like blend it out and make it a little bit lighter. And then I did the skin tone on top of it. This is a really good technique for blending out really, really bright pinks. If that's all you have and you want to make it a little bit more subtle, just layer it underneath the color. I think that works in a lot of situations with markers, is to kind of try to layer things in a way in which you'll get the most desirable result, I guess. Maybe that's common sense, I don't know. So for the hair, I gave her darker hair because I didn't want to give her an unusual hair color, and the blonde would have looked weird, and I don't know. I don't know why I feel the need to justify why I gave her dark hair. Anyway, I used the browns, the black, and then quite a bit of orange and some red, I want to say, as well as some of the skin tone, because I wanted to add a lot of different colors in her hair. Brown hair does have a lot of different colors, like it's going to reflect more coppery in certain places and more gold in certain places, so I wanted to create dimension there. For the bikini, I did a cute little green bikini because I wanted to bring some of that green in, but I wanted to add a pattern, so I added in like a kind of, in my head, it's like an embroidered zigzag pattern. And then for the shorts, I did kind of prefer them the lighter turquoise, but I felt like it didn't give enough contrast against the ocean. So I went in with the royal blue, which was actually the same blue that I used on the bikini, so it made a little bit more sense. I do think I went maybe a little too far on the edges with the dark blue, but you know, sometimes when you cover things up too much, there's just no going back. So I just had to roll with it, and it's not really that big of a deal. I added in some little ties, and then I used a white gel pen to finish everything up, adding in some highlights and things like that. My last tip that I have for you is if you add in highlights with a white gel pen and you're using markers, you can use the markers on top of them to tone them down. It'll also give you a lighter shade of the marker, and I think that really, really helps to blend in white gel pen if you're doing markers. So yeah, that's my last kind of marker tip from this video, but these were not bad at all for cheap markers, like really. I think alcohol markers especially can be very overpriced. And if you're just trying to figure out if you like them, you don't need to go and buy Copics. Try some cheap markers, whether they're from Ross or whether they're like Ohuhu or any other cheap marker brand. Like, try them cheap first. So this is the drawing that I made with these $4.99 markers, and I think it came out pretty cute, honestly. Like, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. I still have my squeaky voice. I'm not mad at the markers. Like, honestly, they work pretty well. Like, I even noticed that actually this has like a gray part, so you can tell which one's the bullet nib really easily. I think they were pretty good, like comparable to some of the other like cheap markers that I've used for sure. And I'm happy with the picture that I made. I wish there were more lighter colors, but honestly, definitely worth $4.99. So if you have a Ross near you and they have these in there, and you want some alcohol markers, maybe go check it out. But anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope that you found it useful, interesting, entertaining, whatever you come to my channel for. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I will see you next Friday. And yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.